Welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show, where wealth means a lot more than just building a second stream of income. Listen and learn how 70% of the millionaires in America used real estate to create a lifestyle that most people only dream about. A lifestyle that includes good health, family, romance, travel, charity, and all the other parts of a balanced life. Now, here is your host, real estate investor and mentor, Steve Davis.
Good afternoon and welcome to the show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where as always, we're talking about leading a better life by investing in real estate and creating a second stream of income. And this has become fairly obvious that this is something that is required to be successful, especially in the last month or so. And it looks like they've now extended the COVID parameters to April 30th. So now it's going to be 2 months. Wouldn't it be nice if you had a second stream of income? And not that the real estate income isn't getting hurt, but it's not all of it gone. In other words, there's many businesses right now that all of their income is gone. It's just, they're shuttered. It's so depressing driving down the street, heading to the grocery store, and you look on the left and the right, and friends, I consider them friends because I've done business with them for years, their stores are shuttered. They have no income. And it's been a wonderful experience for me because I've gotten so much response from the radio show over the last week, where people are talking about, man, this is my wake-up call. I'm not going to be in this position the next time this happens. And the wisdom of that is that point the next time it happens. Because it's not if, it's when this happens again. But what I want to focus on is some positives coming out of this incident. You know, remember the yin-yang principle. For every good, there's equal bad. For every bad, there's equal good. For every catastrophe, there's an equal and opposite opportunity. And the opportunity that's coming up, we're going to discuss with Donnie Gothard here in a little bit. He is a hard money lender, and he's going to talk a little bit about what he sees coming in the future. And it's remarkably similar to what I see coming in the near future. But I think it's just nice for you to hear it from two different people, two different professionals, with two different, I guess I should say backgrounds, two different backgrounds, but we're both coming to the same conclusion, and that is sales are going to be very, very slow for real estate over the next 6 to 9 months, maybe even longer, and as a result, people are lowering their prices. I've had a dozen phone calls, I think, of students of mine going, yeah, the deal I was working on, they just lowered the price to get rid of it because nobody's moving. Everybody's staying in place. They don't want to buy houses right now. So to get rid of them, they're deeply discounting them. One was over $20,000 discount. That was a 10% because that was only a $200,000 house. They lowered it, their asking price, by $20,000. So he went ahead and wrote the offer and got control of the property. So opportunity comes with any catastrophe. The question is, are you in a position to take advantage of it? If you're not, let's make sure that the next time this happens, which it seems to be about every 5 years, we get some type of catastrophe like this, you're prepared for it. And that is by building that second stream of income. You can use any business to do it, but I suggest to you that the real estate business is the most stable, the easiest to get into, the lowest barriers of entry. It's just a great way to build wealth. It's why it accounts for 70% or more of the millionaires in America. They all used real estate to achieve that goal. So a little pressure here. We are going to do 2, maybe 3 webinars in April, maybe 4. That's right. We're doing 3, and we may do a 4th one depending on how well they go. But I'm going to do a webinar where you can sit at home. It literally takes me about 55 minutes to an hour and 5, so 55 to 65 minutes. What I do is I show you exactly the path that I took in my personal life to go from a kid with bad credit and no money, working 60 hours a week, to owning 4,000 apartment units. I'm going to share with you the 9 reasons that we chose real estate above all other investment vehicles. And I'm going to show you 12 or 13, depending on time, principles that we use to run our families and businesses. And then you can decide if the mentoring at Real Wealth Academy is something you would like to have. So if you would like to find out about that, what you want to do is, if you want to attend one of these webinars, is go to getrealwealth.com, getrealwealth.com, and in the upper right hand corner it will say free workshop. Go ahead and register for that free workshop now. That workshop is going to end up being a webinar, but go ahead and register for it now so you get on the list, and then we'll email you the link so that you can watch it on the 16th. Now, that one may be a Facebook Live. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is. Then the others will just be standard webinars. But the one on April 16th is going to be a Facebook Live presentation with a PowerPoint. So I'll be able to give you the full effect of being at a live event. I think, we'll see how it turns out. I do believe that it's better live. I don't know that just emotion and the energy in the room is better, in my opinion. But, we're all stuck at home. Why not spend some of your time while stuck at home reading, attending a few webinars, learning, so that the next time this happens, you're in a good position or a better position. So go to getrealwealth.com, upper right-hand corner, click on free workshop. Now, my next guest, who will come on after the break, is Donald Gothard. Donald Gothard, and he has probably got an equal to or the best hard money loan I've ever seen. I mean, it's phenomenal, and he's going to describe exactly how to use it and when you can use it. And people often ask me, why do you pay such a high interest rate? I think this morning it was 3.62, and I'm paying 12%. Now, Donnie's interest rate is way below that. You're going to be shocked when you hear his number. 3.6% this morning. Why would I pay 12%? I'll tell you why. Because if I use a conventional loan on my standard rental purchase, my out-of-pocket per deal would be over $50,000 per deal. Using hard money, my average was below $20,000 per deal. When we come back from the break, Donnie's going to show you how to get into deals for zero down. All right, this is the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. You are welcome to call and ask myself or Donnie a question at 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Did you know that 70% of the millionaires in America used real estate as their main investment vehicle? You can and should have some real estate in your portfolio. This is Steve Davis, host of the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Starting with bad credit and no money at age 27, I began investing in real estate. By 30, I was retired. I will be explaining this at a free 2-hour introductory workshop this month. If you would like to attend, go to GetRealWealth.com. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you for listening. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Today, my special guest is Donald Gothard. We call him Donnie. He has been working with investors for year after year after year. This guy actually did 400 and I think he said 52 loans in a 12-month period. This guy is extremely aggressive, knows his stuff. So, Donnie, welcome to the show.
Steve, glad to be here.
Yeah, I was just bragging about, how many loans. Was it 452 you did in 1 year?
462.
462, I was off.
That's okay.
That's unbelievable. And in the first segment, I basically told people my opinion of what's going to go on in the next 6 to 9 months. And I explained to them that you have a similar opinion, but would you share it with them? What do you see happening in the real estate market over the next 6, 9, 12 months?
Well, what we see is something, and fortunately we have the emergency that's going on right now in place, but we see a lot of, there's going to be a lot of sellers that are going to be trying to sell their properties fast, get their money out due to lost jobs or due to lower income and so on and so forth. So we're basically going to run into what we ran into back in 2008 and the 2012 era around there. So I feel we're going to be back to a buyer's market once again.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It may be a short one, but I think it's going to be enough for a lot of people to pick up a lot of good investments in a relatively short period of time. And
yes, I agree.
Yeah, I was just describing, I don't know if you were able to hear the first segment, but I did describe the difference between the average out-of-pocket on a deal. If we take my last 20 deals, if I'd used conventional financing, my total out-of-pocket would have been over $50,000 per deal. Because I used hard money loans, it was below $20,000 per deal.
Exactly.
And you've got a situation where you're going as high as 75 to 80% of ARV, and you're giving 100% financing, meaning go on and tell them a little bit about your product, Donnie.
Yeah. So what we're doing is that, we had this product years ago. It worked really well. It actually was endorsed by by Fannie back in the day. And we brought it back, and basically what we're doing is we're going to lend the buyer 100% of what it takes to buy the property, i.e. sales price, rehab the property, and all closing costs. So on the front-end deal, the hard money, we're loaning 100% of that. There's literally zero out-of-pocket at the closing table. The only out-of-pocket cost they're going to have is the appraisal, which is a third-party cost, so that gets paid directly from the consumer to the appraisal company. So that's basically the way it works. And the another good side of that is the fact that once they close on the loan, we're going to disperse 50% of those rehab funds up front.
See, that's amazing, because most people, they have to wait for a certain amount of work to be done, then they have to get it inspected, then they draw, and so you've got to have that money in reserve to get your contractor started.
Exactly, and we're trying to alleviate that and give a little bit more of flexibility to the buyer. And this will also give the buyers a chance to buy more than one property at a time. If they qualify for it, they can actually buy two at a time if they have the cash, because they're not fronting those reserves or fronting that upfront rehab cost.
Well, question. What is the requirement for the contractor? In other words, do you need a contractor that is on a list? Are they allowed to use their own contractor? What's going on with the contractor? In other words, if we're going to give them 50% up front, how are you protecting them?
Yeah, it's up to the buyer to do their due diligence on who they want to use, but that's why they have people like myself or people like you guys most surely, because you're going to put these people that you trust already in front of them and know that these guys can get the job done. And most of the time, if it's someone that we've heard of or seen, there's not going to be any questions. But I'm going to review, my team, I guess, will review all repair bids just to make sure it looks like it should, I guess you per se. But as long as the buyer does their due diligence, we're going to run with it as long as the buyer's dead set on that's what they want to do.
And then I was bragging, too, a little bit about your interest. I've been paying 12%. What's the interest rate on that loan, Donnie?
We're going to loan it out at 7% and 2
That's
points.
Insane. That's crazy. I mean, I love it because everybody's used to hard money loans being 10% or more. And
Yeah.
you're talking about 7% and only 2 points. That's just a bargain. I mean, you
It
must
is.
be busy as can be.
We are right now. We're really, really busy right now. And just remember, it's a buy and hold product only. It's not for flips.
Right.
We only use this product for people who want to buy that property, retain it for that residual income.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. This is for rental only. You can't use this for flips.
Yes, sir.
So I've got, okay, let me go to your website. I'm going to give this out for you, Donnie.
Yep.
832-975-1800 is Donnie's number. 832-975. I just got an email requesting it. 832
No worries.
975-1800. And that is Verity Mortgage, VERITY Mortgage. And they own veritymortgage.com, so it's really easy to find. And you can actually apply right online. Is that correct?
Yes, you can. At the top right-hand corner, there'll be a spot where you can apply today and even go in and select the loan officer you're working with. Now, just so you know, this particular product is for my office only because I'm actually licensed in 14 states and I can do this everywhere.
Wow. Well, how long have you been in this business?
Over 20 years.
20 years. Amazing. Okay. And then what else would you well, I know the question that I'm going to get if I don't know if it's not already in my email box, and that is this. You just kind of talked about it, how you move them to conventional. A lot of people are like, what if I get stuck in the hard money loan? Tell them how you prevent that.
Okay, and the way we prevent that is that's actually a really good question, and we actually have that asked quite a bit. What we do is we don't qualify you for the hard money, and that's just fluff. We're going to basically qualify you for your exit strategy permanent financing up front. So that way there's no question about whether or not you can get out of that loan. So it's all done in the beginning by my upfront team members. I mean, my upfront team members have been with me. Well, one of them's been married to me for over 20 years. The other one's been with me for about 12 to 13 years, and they're all licensed underwriters, so they know up front whether or not the buyer is going to qualify or not. So we do our due diligence up front. And another a little piece about the product is we actually are able to use the same appraiser on both the front end and the back end. So it's done as a construction loan, therefore we can do that, and that way they never have that difference of opinion of value.
Oh, that is excellent. Yeah, that's excellent. Let me make a point, though, because this happened to one of my students just, I want to say, less than a month ago. They bought a dang car, and it changed their debt-to-income ratio.
Yeah.
So when you're inside a hard money loan and you have not refinanced it yet, do not buy anything on credit until you've refinanced the house, because that could interfere with it, couldn't it?
Most definitely, yeah. Don't do anything that's credit-oriented because it could, and most of the time probably will, negatively affect your debt-to-income ratio, yes.
Yeah. So while you're pre-qualified, please don't do anything dumb.
Yeah,
for lack of a better phrase. It's like, exactly. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and if they're working with us, they can always call. If it's something that really needs to be done, and we'll actually run the numbers for them, say, okay, you're safe to do whatever it is you're doing. So just have them make sure, even if they're not working with us, just have them make sure that whatever lender they're working with, just make sure that they touch base with them before they do anything that's credit-oriented.
Yeah, most definitely. And then what's the minimum credit score now to qualify for the conventional the refinance?
Yeah, so the guidelines state 620.
Okay.
The automated system is tweaked a little bit. We're not seeing much below a 650 making it, but as long as the automated system takes the file, we can run with it. So 620 is that bottom tier.
But they really should have a 650 or higher.
Yeah, 650, 660 area is about where we're seeing the automated systems cut off.
And then what about cash reserves? Any cash reserves required?
Now, cash reserves is a little bit different of a beast. That's going to be determined by the properties they own. So It's all going to, everybody's situation is going to be different. If they own 1, if they own 6, the number is going to be different because it's based on a percentage of balance owed.
Okay. But you walk people through this. The reason I throw those questions out there is because those are the ones I get emailed after the show almost every time. In fact, I probably will still get them even though we answered them, which is fine. But what everyone needs to understand is Donnie will walk you step by step through these deals. You don't, when you get, people are always like my banker, my bankers, banksters, they call them. I'm like, are you kidding me? Some of the most important people on my team, some of my best partners are bankers and mortgage companies. So you need to treat Donnie like a team member because he's going to treat you like a team member and walk you through this process.
Well, I'm also an avid investor, too. So they're not only working with just someone who does their lending job. They're working with someone who's actively investing right now in this market.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Donnie, I sure appreciate you coming on the show. You have a great rest of your day.
You too, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Okay, if you want to call Donald, it is 832-975-1800, 832-975-1800, or VerityMortgage.com. You're listening to the GetRealWealth.com radio show on AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. 70% of the millionaires in America used real estate as their main investment vehicle. Listen to the GetRealWealth.com radio show to find out how you can do it too. Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. right here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. I'm getting several questions. I think these questions, though, should be handled by Donnie. So I'm going to email everybody his email. Let me give it out just for anybody that's about to email me asking for his email. It's Donald.Gothard, Gothard, at VerityMortgage.com, VERITY. Donald.Gothard at VerityMortgage.com, or you can call him at 832-975-1800, 832-975-1800. And by the way, what is the first step for a real estate investor? It's kind of funny because I'm sure a bunch of you are going, take your 2-day class. Yeah, that's one of the first steps. But it's get a pre-qualification letter, a real pre-qualification letter. And guess what Donald can do for you? Just that. It adds so much credibility to your offers when you have that proof that you are qualified for the loan, that you are going to close. It really, really helps. So he can get you that. Again, it's Donald Gothard, 832-975-1800. Okay, let's go into some emails and some bigger pocket questions because it's really important that you stay sharp. And I love these questions because they ask stuff that I assume people know and they don't. So I'm sure many of you are going, hey, I wouldn't have even thought to ask that question. It goes back to that old phrase, you don't know what you don't know. And these emails help with that, but I would really rather have your phone calls. The phone calls take precedent. If you've got a question for me, give me a call at 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. Now, this is a worrisome deal. This came up last week, and it's come up again today. Fourplex located in a single-family neighborhood. Now, this scares me to death. And the reason it does is because there's very little way to evaluate the value of the property. And what people do, there's a huge misunderstanding on Bigger Pockets. They call fourplexes multifamily. It's not multifamily. Fourplexes, triplexes, duplexes are all single family. If you don't believe me, go find a contract for a single family property, and what will it say? 1 to 4 families. So it's just a little weird thing, but that's not multifamily. Multifamily is 5 units and above. So when you talk about plexes and you're in a neighborhood where there's only one, how do you run comparable sales? Well, you can't. So how do you determine the value? Well, a lot of people will then go, well, I'll just use a multifamily formula. But it's not multifamily. You can't go by cap rate. I've seen fourplexes that had a really high cap rate, and it was just a home run deal. And based on the cash flow, that thing would be $400,000. But it's in a neighborhood, it's not worth $400,000. Period. The safest bet in a deal like this, and I know some of you are going to say, how in the world, why would somebody do this? I won't generally, if it's a neighborhood where it's a fourplex and I'm mentoring somebody, I tell them it's not worth much more than the average single family house. But it's 4 units. I don't care. Run your comparables. Go with the high. That's fine. Since it's a fourplex, look at your cash flow. But I wouldn't pay any more than that. And then I try to talk them out of it, because fourplexes, triplexes, and duplexes are a pain in the rear to lease. They're a pain in the rear to manage. They're just, well, let me be careful how I say this. They're harder to manage than single family. They're harder to lease than single family. And you don't get the appreciation out of the plexes that you do out of single family and apartments, true multifamily. So my recommendation, Roy, is unless you can find comparable sales, or unless you can buy this for about what a single family house is worth in that same neighborhood, I would move away from the deal. But if you could, let's say the neighborhood, the high sale is $250, the average is $225 or something like that. If you can get it for that price and it's in, I'm assuming, perfect shape, I think it's worth a little more than that. But you can't pay more than that because it's not going to cash flow properly. So look at your cash flow analysis. Let me make sure he's not moving into one side of it. Oh boy, here we go. And he wants to move in. Roy, do not do that. Why would you want to live next to 3 tenants? Can you imagine the difficulty it's going to be to get away from those people? Anytime something goes wrong, they're just going to walk out their front door and come to your door. It's again, they're very difficult to manage. And this house hacking, I guess they call it, where you lease rooms or you buy a fourplex and live in one side, it can be very difficult. Now, with all the negativity that I just brought up, am I telling you 100% not to do the deal? No. Just make sure that there's so much cash flow that it's worth it, and that you get such a good price that it's worth it. And again, I don't think they're worth much more than a single family house. I really don't. Now, you'll get a lot more cash flow out of them, but you're going to have a little more hassle to lease them, a little more hassle to manage them. I would prefer, Roy, that you go buy 4 single family houses instead of this fourplex. But if you're going to do it, it is possible to succeed if you follow those rules I laid out. Don't pay much more than what the average home in that neighborhood sells for, and don't move into one of the units. Do not. Let me read one more paragraph here. I just want to make sure he's not getting a zero down deal from the VA. No. Okay. All right. Phone lines are open. 281-558-5738. 281-558-KSEV. You are, of course, listening to KSEV, the voice of Texas. This next question is from Catherine, and it's a rental payment history question. So this is a qualifying question, a screening question. The tenant asked me to find a system where I can report his payment history so he can build his credit. What systems are out there for that? I'm going to save this email because it goes on and on. I'll answer this email tomorrow, and I'll find out, because I don't know the answer to the first question. I do know the answer to the other ones, but let me answer all three of these on tomorrow's show, because I need to find out what tenant software also reports to help them build their credit, or for you to be able to turn in a bad tenant, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, or email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Okay, taking over existing lease and tenant requests changes. My tenant is requesting to add her boyfriend and a pet to an existing lease that I inherited. Here's what I would do, Christopher. I would sign a whole new lease. Just void out the old lease, get it in writing that they agree to that, and sign a new lease that supersedes the previous lease. That new lease should have her boyfriend on it, the pet fee, the additional fee for the pet every month, and they both need to sign it, and you need to run credit and criminal check on the boyfriend. You should also talk to a present landlord and a previous landlord. In other words, Christopher, screen that boyfriend. Actually, this is an opportunity to screen both of them. It really is. Now, you really can't kick her out because she's got that lease, but it would be a good time to go ahead and check both of their credit, both of their previous landlord history, so you know to watch out if she's got some bad history. So again, I would supersede the lease, put the pet fee, again, it's not a pet deposit, it's a pet fee, and screen him just like you would any tenant moving in. And if he doesn't pass, I'm warning you, don't let him in there. Don't let him in there. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-5738. Got a webinar question. It's not April 16th, it looks like, is when that will be. But that's the Facebook and Instagram presentation. Well, at this point, it doesn't matter. If you want to watch one of these webinars, just go and register for the free workshop, and we'll email you the details, and you can watch either a regular, just plain old webinar, or you can watch us on Facebook Live and Instagram Live. Go to getrealwealth.com. Upper right-hand corner, it'll say free introductory workshop. Getrealwealth.com. This is the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Thanks for listening. Did you know that 95% of Americans fail to retire by age 65 and 36% are dead? The good news is that here at the GetRealWealth.com radio show, we know what the other 5% are doing. 70% of them own real estate. We are a mentoring group for new and experienced real estate investors. We will show you how to build a second stream of income that will allow you to retire at any age. I will be explaining this at a free 2-hour introductory workshop this month. If you would like to attend, please go to GetRealWealth.com. That's GetRealWealth.com. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Feel free to call me right now at 281-558-5738 with any question you have about building wealth for yourself with real estate. It's 281-558-KSEV. Let's go to the phone lines now. We're going to go to Spring Branch and talk to John. Oh, okay. Sorry, John. If you want to call back, please do so at 281-558-5738. Let's go to Richmond, Texas, and talk to Vera. Vera, thanks a lot for calling in. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Excellent. Thank you.
Good. Calling because I have a couple of questions. First of all, is it more lucrative to get into single-family houses or multifamily?
The apartments are going to make you a larger, faster amount of money. In other words, the homes, they come one at a time. An apartment can come 50 or 500 units at a time. So you could literally, I've seen people retire themselves on one deal. Whereas with single family homes, you got to buy 20 or 30 of them to be able to match your earned income. So as far as the rates of return cash on cash, they're similar. I think single family probably has a higher cash on cash rate of return right now. But if we go into a buyer's market, we go into a slight recession or even a deep recession, then that will of course change.
Okay. I just read I probably shouldn't have done this. I just read something very startling. It says the Fed may have just pushed us into a mortgage crisis by triggering this, by buying up all this, the mortgage-backed securities. Bought up $250 billion of mortgage-backed securities to strengthen the markets, but it's saying it could cause they're having mortgage calls on the not mortgage calls. What do you call it? The margin calls across the mortgage banker industry. So, have you heard of that?
I have not. In fact, if you want to, email me that link.
I will.
It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com. I'd love to read that.
Okay. All right. I don't know how that's going to affect the housing, but I'm sure it's going to have something to do with people who own, single-family homes, I would think. Maybe even...
Yeah, I don't think it'll affect anybody that owns them. I think what it could do is... Well, I need to read the article because I'm just guessing what's in there.
Yeah.
But it could, it'd be nice. I know this sounds funny, Vera, but please remember we make more money in the down market than we do the up market. So we actually like when there's a catastrophe. So maybe this will create one and there'll be great opportunity come out of it for investors.
But you got to have cash to be able to participate.
Not necessarily, because of like Donnie Gothard's offer for his mortgage, which can be as low as $0 down.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll send that to you, and you can read it. I'd like to hear.
Thank you, Vera.
I'd like to hear what you think about it. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot, Vera. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay. Phone lines are open: 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, or email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Now, a good friend of the radio show, Diane, has emailed me to remind me that cozy.co, cozy.co, cozy, COZY.co, is a property management online software that a tremendous number of people use to manage their single-family houses. It allows you to report. It allows the tenant, it looks like it allows the tenant to actually do it. It says we're exciting to announce something new for renters. If you're paying rent through Cozy, now you can report your payments to Experian. Your Cozy payments will only appear on your Experian credit report. If you skip paying through Cozy for a month, your report will simply say no activity for that month. So that's pretty neat. If you and it's kind of cool because it's an incentive for the tenant to pay on time. So I still am going to wait for this email till tomorrow because I want to see if there's a couple more. Anybody else out there that knows of websites that are property management related that will report to Experian or any credit bureau, please email me and let me know. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Okay, and the phone lines again are open. Just a couple more minutes. 281-558-5738, KSEV. Okay, this is a new investor question, and this one's rather lengthy. I read a little bit of it during the break. And it's basically, well, she closed on, Kim is her name, she closed on a fourplex yesterday, and it turns out that the washer broke on Monday. Oh man, this is now I remember. Basically, when she inspected it, washer was working fine. When she went there after she closed on the deal, the washer was broke. Tenant says they reported it to the seller on Friday, I guess, two days ago. And the seller didn't tell her that when she closed. The question Kim is asking, is the seller responsible? Yes, they are. That is deception. And if you wanted to pursue it, you'd win. Now, I have the feeling it costs more to pursue than a new washing machine would, or repairing the washing machine. So be very careful. This is one of those choose your battles wisely. Yeah, you got ripped off. Yeah, your ego's going to be mad about it. I would let this go. Repair the washer and move on. The only thing that I would do is write a letter requesting that they pay for the washer repair, since it was reported to them on the Friday before closing and after you did your inspection, Kim. He may just write you a check. The reason I believe that is because this happened when in one complex that I bought. It was, I think, 5 duplexes, and immediately upon closing and going to inspect it, what do you call that? It's not a sewage system. God, it's been so long. That was 23 years ago. The septic system had overflowed. Well, it took a few phone calls, no legal activity, a few phone calls, a few letters, and he came out and fixed it. So they know they're responsible. They know they can get in trouble for that. So a letter is probably as much as I would do on this, because I mean, even a top of the line washing machine, well, I shouldn't say that. A very, very good washing machine is only $500-600. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. Go back to this question too, Kim. Be aware that I don't provide washer and dryer ever in single family. So you may be doing something that's unnecessary to begin with. Are you sure? Now, I forgot to ask this. Are you sure that washer and dryer is yours, or is it the tenant's and they're trying to get you to pay for the repair? Look into that. Sounds like it is yours, but just make sure. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, or email me if you're a little shy, don't want to come on the radio. Email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Okay, next question is from a new investor, Derek, and I'm looking at a duplex in North Florida. Okay, I'm assuming, let me see if it tells me where he lives. No, it doesn't. I hope you live in Florida. I believe I can get it for $150,000. I currently have 2 houses financed, but no other debt. My current mortgage company says that I could finance with about $40,000 down. That much down scares me. It scares me too, Derek. Is that normal on an investment property? No, I think that down payment seems too high. I would shop a little more until you find an investor-friendly bank in your area, and there's a lot of them in Florida. Don't go to the big names like Wells Fargo. Go to the smaller local banks. The other thing you're going to want to do, if you have not already done so, is join a local real estate investor club, and they'll have a list of mortgage companies for you as well. And since you're getting them from a real estate investor club, you can pretty much bet they're investor friendly. All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and we'll talk again tomorrow. This has been the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. You may email me at any time Ask Steve at GetRealWealth.com. Take care.
This has been the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Please remember that this show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investing advice. Always get a professional opinion before making any investment decision. To find out about the mentoring and consulting at Real Wealth Academy, visit GetRealWealth.com and attend one of our free introductory workshops on real estate investing. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thanks for listening and have a great rest of your day.